Yo, welcome back. We got another quick episode. Like I said, today is definitely a quick hitter with a big hitter. My guy, Harrison Smith. Let's welcome him in real quick so we can get into it. My guy, H, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I thank you for taking some time, man, during obviously a busy training camp schedule to spend a little time with me and talk a little bit. Um, you know, I was telling you a little bit before doing this. I like doing these little things, man. Get to know players, get to, hear from different players. And I feel like we all need some positive media out there, man. It's all good stuff, man. So let's jump into it, man. We got this world of quarantine going on, man, for so long, I guess, during you guys' off season. How did you spend your quarantine, man?
So I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. So I was down there for most of it. Um, staying in shape, working out, kind of the standard NFL player answer. But I was playing a ton of golf. Like,
Really?
I've always kind of played a little bit, but I got into it this year, and it grabbed a hold of me pretty good because it was basically like the only competitive thing that stayed open. Um, as long as you weren't taking the pins out and stuff. So had a bunch of fun out on the course and got a little better and definitely gained some respect for that world.
Wow, golf, man. I remember, when I first got in the league, man, I tried golf and then I started having kids, so I didn't have, 5, 6 hours to play some golf, man.
Yeah.
So my golf game kind of left. But that's kind of cool that you picked that up, man, and being able to compete. Because I wanted to ask you, like, what was it like having an off season with no football? You don't get that competitive side of it. You know what I'm saying? This is your first time in your career not having an off season program. You know
hmm
what I'm saying? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, it was. Like I like the break from the season. I think most of us do. As far as like the physical toll from the body, and it's nice to take a break from some competition, kind of calm down for a second.
Hmm.
Um, but the itch comes back pretty quick. And even before like normal OTAs, and then not going to OTAs and getting like a little bit of taste, um, it's weird. Like you're just programmed to almost like compare yourself to other people and like where am I? What do I need to improve on? This and that. And when you don't have that, I don't know. You start playing golf, I guess. So that's what I did.
Man, that's funny, and it's so true that you say that because I don't know like where you work out at or how you work out in the off season, but a lot of times that's what you do, right? You train with guys or you go to the off season program and you're comparing yourself. You're seeing, they're taking all these different measurables and you kind of get to see yourself stacked up, I guess, all the time, and you kind of grow to like that's like normal for you, and it feels weird when you don't have that.
Yeah, you feel like you're not like doing enough or you're like out of control or something because there's not that structure that you've become accustomed to. And it was nice, like um learning different things about yourself too in that situation, getting a little time away from the game and thinking about what I can do better once I get back to the football field. You kind of get to zoom out a little bit and see like a bigger picture.
That's interesting, and we're gonna talk about that a little later on. But I do have to ask because I kind of been in this situation. My second going into my third year in the league, we had kind of a no off season because we was dealing with the lockout, right? 2011, so we didn't have an off season, and we didn't really know what was going to happen with the season, right? So you was just kind of training, hoping that you got the call that hey, you guys can go back to work, right? So it kind of reminded me of this right here, right? You got COVID, it's big worldwide, pandemic going on. You see other leagues getting postponed, basketball, baseball can't get started, no sports really going on. What is it like mentally though, trying to prepare for like, okay, are we gonna have a season? Are they gonna call us back tomorrow to go, OTAs? Like, how did you deal with that part from a mental standpoint of doing enough to hopefully be ready to play a season,
Mhm.
but then not on the back of your head, just kind of like, man, with this pandemic, we may not even have a season.
Yeah, that's I think being a vet, helps in that, helped with that scenario, even though everybody was kind of, you know, playing it as it goes. Um, but knowing what type of shape I need to be in and being like close to ready to go
Right.
for a while, I think was important. Where like, you come around to OTAs and then they push them back and then they say like maybe we'll come back in June or maybe we'll do something like early July and make a whole new schedule. So like going all out, crazy, like that's something I would have done after my rookie year. Like I'm working out as hard as possible every day, no questions asked.
Right.
Which like if you can sustain it, that's great. But it's hard to sustain that and then start a season and
Yes.
be good all the way through the season, all the
Yes.
way through the playoffs. So I think being a vet, like you've been around, the block a couple times. You know where your body needs to be, and you're never gonna be ready to play in a game. Like no matter
Yes.
what you do, you have to go to camp and get in football shape. Like you can look great, you can have all these measurables and stuff, but football is a little different. So I know what I need to do to be close, and then turn it on those next couple of weeks, and then show up for camp, and then you're not done yet because you got to get those football legs under you.
That is a great perspective because football is, I mean, obviously all these sports are, but the ultimate marathon, being
Mm-hmm.
able to, you got to be able to, I don't want to say pace yourself, but you got to be able to understand that, hey man, you're not playing a game in July or August. You got to get your body right. You got to be able to do it, but you got to be able to sustain that level and continue to get better for 4 or 5 months. Sometimes you see these young guys come in and they running wild and crazy the first week of training camp, but then all of a sudden it's like they take a nosedive and you can't even get them, you can't get them back up, man. So it's a great perspective that you have, and like you said, being a vet definitely pays dividends, man. You've been around the block. It's year 9 for you, man. What keeps you motivated, man? What keeps you like going, man?
Um, I think as like cliche and corny as it is, like I really just enjoy the game of football. Like I'm not naive to the point where like the money is obviously great. Like let's be real,
Right.
um, but it's hard to be an effective football player and a good football player without enjoying the game. And like when you get beat, you get very upset and you want to correct it and you want to make plays and you want to be in the right spot for the guy next to you or whatever your position is. Like that's to me, um, you just can't really replicate what the game of football is a lot of other places. So I think I still really enjoy that, like the game planning, the game day, like the stresses involved. Like how it is as a DB. Like one thing goes wrong, everybody's
Yes.
panicking for a second. Like you got to lock back in, you got to go over your stuff. Keep your head about you. And when you're successful, like there's no better feeling. Um,
None.
yeah, so I can't. You know, I'm just still loving it, I guess.
So did you have any thoughts about the opt out? I always ask that question because I want to know different perspectives of it, right? You have guys who are superstars, leaders on their team, big money guys, perennial like guys. Do they feel an extra pressure to play because they mean so much to a team, to an organization, or was it really just, hey, I love football, I didn't even think about opting out, or the pressure was a little, I always want to know.
For me, I really never considered opting out. I don't have. I saw like a lot of the guys had like newborn babies or
Right.
other issues going on, and I don't really have those things in my life right now. Knock on wood, those things can always change as far as like people's health and stuff and age and whatever. Um, but yeah, I felt like I was, doing the right thing and just want to go play football.
That's good, man. So you got new training camp, man. Obviously, so many different things going on with the probably testing and COVID. Probably no fans out. it's training camp though, man. For 9 years, you've been going to training camp when it's been whatever. Now it's different. You know, you got new team. You got young guys in the secondary. What has that been like? You know, putting the pads back on, jumping back into it, no OTAs, just right back into training camp, trying to get ready for a season. No preseason games. Trying to learn guys, like, come on, man. Young, you're the older
Yeah.
guy now. Like, come on now.
The honestly, just recognizing the young guys the first couple of days was hard because you got the mask on everywhere, and I was like, I'm never even gonna learn what our rookies look like. But now we've been around enough. But it's different, man. It's not even for me. Camp in the NFL was never like the 2-a-day grinds.
Right.
Like I'm sure you had a few of those before the new CBA, where I kind of missed all of that anyway. So it was hard. Like we'd have some good practices and stuff, but now it's like, I mean, if some of the old school guys would see what we do now for camp, like they would be. I don't know if they would be happy for us or mad at us or what, but they would not recognize it. I know that. But it's good. There's a lot of mental stuff like that. Again, it depends where you're coming from. You're a rookie, vet, how many years you've been in the same system. Those things make a big deal. And like you said, if you're a young guy, you're not getting those preseason games.
Right.
You know, that kind of is a big deal because that's like it's a good intro to what game speed is like.
Right.
And also a way to get evaluated. And that's just, unfortunately doesn't exist now.
Right. So you being a 9-year guy, what do you think about not having those preseason games? Because, as vets, we don't play a lot in the preseason games, but it still was always nice to go out there that first game and get like one possession in, just to, even if you don't have any contact or, but just to kind of get the feel of being out there, feel the urge inside, and then maybe that second game you get a little more, and then you work on different things. How are you gonna figure out a way to replicate, to get yourself ready to be ready to play a game at a high level without having those preseason games?
From what I understand, I think Coach Zim is going to try to get us in our stadium and try to make it close to that. So like putting on the uniforms and sitting in the locker room and stuff like that.
Right.
I think that stuff's important because like the mindset you take the field with often carries over to how you play.
Right.
More so than like, getting hyped up and all that. Like that's you're going to be excited to go play. Like you don't need to practice that. But as far as like maybe staying a little calm, going over your adjustments, stuff like that. Because like when those lights come on that first preseason game, like guys start making up like whole new defenses, all new rules. So like, but that still happens to me too because I get excited about it's a heightened environment and
right.
Adjust to that. So I'm interested in just like the logistics of the first game, like the referee crews, chain gang, like everything that goes into it will be untested for this year.
Right.
So the first few might be a little sloppy.
It's going to be tough because like you said, I mean, people don't think about this, but the referees use the preseason to catch up to the speed of the game, man, and not having that, and it sucks because there could be calls that happen in weeks 1, 2, or 3 that affect games that eventually affect seasons because you never know what happens at the end of the season. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But you've been in, like we said, for 9 years, man. You've been playing at a high level, man. You've 5-time Pro Bowler. Like I said, man, you've been top 100, almost every year that I can remember. Just talk to me about what goes in it for you, to play at a high level year in, year out. Is it something that you try to focus on in the off season as far as your body, your diet? Like, film study? What is something that you do that kind of helps you, play? Because it's tough to play at that level year in and year out. You know what I'm saying? But you've been able to do it. What's the secret, man?
Man, luck. I mean, luck is a huge piece, honestly. Like, even just getting to the NFL, like, luck plays a factor no matter how good you are. Um, I've been fortunate to be around a lot of good coaches and good players, good vets early on, um, that kind of showed me how to be a successful pro. So, like I said, when the season ends, I think that's when you kind of start shaping yourself for the next season. And so for me, I need a little time off just to like totally not think about anything. And then, which is hard to do, I'll still be going through stuff for a while.
Right.
But then staying in shape, like not getting so far out of whack. Like I've seen guys gain a bunch of weight or lose a bunch of weight and all this stuff. Like I like to stay pretty much how I'm going to be. Like, maybe not quite as perfect as I want to be, but close. And then I just kind of ramp it up. Constantly thinking about what offensive coaches are doing now to attack our defense and where I fit into that, that scheme. Because the offense has changed like every year,
Right.
every 2 years. Like there's a new hot thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then one coordinator, his tree is the hot one, and then so everybody starts adopting that one, and then it's just revolving. So defenses are trying to keep up with it, and I try to think about like what's them doing to combat it and where do I fit into that, and he's pretty good at coming up with those things. So like as long as I follow the plan and I'm in good shape, and injuries, avoiding injuries, coming back from injuries, playing through minor tweaks and stuff, I think that's helped me a lot throughout my career. Being able to play with some, discomfort, but being able to play at a high level with that.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And I'm gonna say this just because you're the older guy now. I remember, and I don't know if you did it or not, but this is kind of how I was as a player. I remember, playing in the NFC North. We had, Detroit, had you guys, had Green Bay, Chicago. And I was the type, just from a distance, nothing crazy, but I used to always like try to keep up with like the NFC North safeties. I always wanted to know, hey, what did Harrison do this week? You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of plays did he make? What did Ha do in Green Bay? You know what I'm saying? What did later Eddie Jackson and those guys? Like I always wanted to know Adrian Amos. What were those guys doing? Sendejo had a big hit. Oh heck, okay. Sendejo had another pick. Okay, oh man. I always wanted to keep up. And from afar, I was trying to compete with you guys. I was like, what? These are the top guys and these are the guys in my division. I want to try to compete with those guys, and I hope they are, obviously competing with me and it's next. But now that the division is younger, right? I know they got young safeties in Detroit. Ha-Ha's gone. You still got Eddie and in Chicago. But what do you think? Like, do you go in think about like these other guys and competing from afar, or is it just kind of like, hey, I'm in my zone, I'm in Minnesota, this is my defense, this is what I mean to my defense, and that's what I'm trying to focus on?
It's kind of both. It's funny you bring that up because like, especially when me and Dejo were playing, we would always watch you and James, and we just loved how y'all played together, and like, he was kind of like the big, like, kind of enforcer.
Right,
like,
right.
I mean, you were banging people too, but just his body type.
Right.
You were ball hawking. So we always loved watching y'all's film, and you end up watching so much film from your division of other defensive players because you're all playing the same opponents.
Right.
So it is cool, like you said, just to think like, man, could I have made that play that he just made?
Right.
And go back and forth. But then there's another side of me that's like, nowadays, playing safety doesn't always mean the same thing based on what scheme you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't try to get too caught up in it. I definitely like, oh, he got a pick. Like I need to get my numbers up and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
That's never going away. Um,
Good.
but I also understand like what I need to do in our defense for us to be right. And there's some weeks where like I feel like, being on the field, I didn't do a whole lot. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just how it is. That's how the
Mm-hmm.
plays came out, whatever. You can still have tight coverage. You can still fit up, your run gaps appropriately, and your other guys can make plays. So the stats don't always show everything, but
Right.
we're greedy, man. Like, just
No
like,
question.
you
No
want to make
question.
every play.
And it's funny,
Like,
man. It's funny. I used to always have to tell people because, obviously you have friends and people from the outside and they see all these things. And I used to always tell people, you can't compare me to Harrison because we play different. He's going to have 6 or 7 sacks a year or 4 to 5 because, he blitzes a lot. Like I never blitz,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He's going to have TFLs and those. He's going to have that because he plays down there and he's good at that stuff. That's what James was doing for us. So James will have,
right.
TFLs and some sacks. And so I used to always be like, dude, you can't compare us. It's two, even though we both play safety, it's two
Right.
different types. You know what I'm saying? So it was always fun, man. I love those years, man. And like I said, man, it was fun to watch you play, compete against you. And like I said, you've been doing it at a high level for a long time, man. So congratulations to you. Year 9, got to get to year 10, and then hey, man, you joined the 10-year club, man.
Join the club.
I tapped out at 10. I tapped out. I did. I tapped out at 10, but you in great shape, man. You can play a
That
lot
wasn't
longer,
a
man.
stretch 10 though. You had all, big time 10. Like there was no like I was a little, I didn't play much here. Like you were in the action all 10.
And that's what I tell people. I feel like I played a real 10. Like I missed one game in 10 years, and then I was trying to play every single play of every single game. Practicing every day. Like I do feel like I played a real 10, and I was happy. Like it was tough. I was tired, man. My body was tired, and I was just ready to do something else, man. But you don't do that. Keep playing, man. As long as you can play. But I was telling you before we got on, man. I don't like to get into all that other stuff. Hardest quarterback, hardest, toughest guy, like all that stuff. I mean, they're all good. They're all tough. You catch them at the right time. They're all tough. It's all tough. But I do want to end our segment with something that defenses like to end games with, end drives with. It's the pick six. I had a guy, say a reference that we should call a show the pick six. And I was like, we can have a segment called the pick six. So I'm gonna ask you 6 questions, just funny little questions that I have, and just see what the answers are. Okay.
All right.
So question 1: what is something that people are obsessed with, but you just don't get the point of it?
A lot of stuff, especially during quarantine. TikTok. TikTok is number 1 on the list right now for sure. A lot of that stuff, man. I oftentimes just feel happier without it.
That's cool. I would have thought you would have said TikTok. Question 2: what would you do if you were invisible for one day?
We gotta keep it legal. Like no, no bank thefts here. Man, it depends on the time of year. You could get a little Spygate going on.
Ooh.
In season. I know that's not really sporting, but if you're invisible, that'd probably be on top of the list.
I like it. I like it. Do you have any superstitions?
Yeah, like I wouldn't say like they're, it's routine. Like I gotta do certain things on game day. I gotta, really my main thing is I got to get a nice shot of Tabasco hot sauce before I take off on the bus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's
Just
that's
to
a
wake
good one.
up, you know. You got
That's a
those
good one.
noon games.
That's a good one. I never heard anything like that. So, is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Why?
No. Um, because it's turned. I think if you cut the buns entirely and put it bun down and bun up, you could call it a sandwich. But the fact that it's connected and like this, it's just I don't know. It doesn't feel right. It's more like a bread bowl of some sort.
Oh wow, that's a good one. Man, you give me some answers I never even would have thought of, man. That's incredible. What is your most unusual talent?
um, my unusual talent. I don't know if it's a talent. It's just a skill I've learned. But I started flying small planes after like my first 2 or 3 years in the league. During
Uh-huh.
OTAs, I started taking lessons. So got my pilot's license. Which is kind of like more of a learned
That's
skill, but
dope.
you gotta have a little talent.
That's dope. And I mean that might lead to this last question. What is something weird that you recommend everyone try at least once?
Yeah, I mean that would be up there, like going on a little Cessna, looking out of the front windshield. Um, Weird. Yeah, I mean that to me that's not weird anymore, but at the time it was terrifying and very weird. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll go with that.
That's cool, man. Like those are some good answers, man. Some good answers. Some very interesting
Good.
stuff, man. I got to learn a little more about my guy Harrison, man. Man, that's been fun, man. Like I said, I try not to keep you guys that long. We right at 27 minutes, man. So I appreciate you taking some time, man, to chat with me, man. Like I said, I've been a fan of you for a long time, man. Competed against you from a distance, man, and it's been fun watching you work, man, and can't wait to see what you guys do this year, man. New defense. It's gonna be a new year, man. It's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
It's gonna be weird, man, to see no fans. How you feel about that? Last question, man. How you feel about that? Playing with no fans.
Man, it's kind of hard to guess right now. Like even practice, you normally have a lot of fans at training camp, and so you get a little bit of juice out there. But it's kind of like it's not dead because like you're out there competing, but like it's more of the like in between time, like the warm up and stuff. It's not, it's just kind of like
It's just there.
different. It's just
Yeah,
different, yeah.
man.
But
It's
we'll
gonna be
figure it out.
it's gonna be different, man. It's gonna be a transition, man. And the teams that can I don't know, man, find that energy from within are gonna be the ones that bring the energy to the field and hopefully win some games, man. So
Yeah.
we'll be checking you out, man. Like I said, man, I appreciate you jumping on the show, man. It means a lot to me, man, for you to take time during the busy training camp, man, to sit down with me, man. So I appreciate it, brother.
Thanks for having me on, man. Looked up to you for a while, learned a lot watching you. So I appreciate it.
No doubt, man. No doubt.